Welcome to part 5 of Multidimensional Essentials. We are going to look at the science of cymatics, the power of sound to create, maintain, and destroy the seemingly solid objects that we see around us. So right away, let's go to, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at a video. Let's watch this. So this, what we're looking at here is what's called a Chladni plate. This is a metal plate with sand on it, and it's hooked up to a frequency generator, and it's just pumping frequencies. And they're saying, you know, do 100 hertz, 150 hertz, 120 hertz, whatever frequency they want, right? And they're turning the knob up. And so right now, okay, we got chaos, chaos, chaos. But when the vibration gets to a harmonic frequency, 432 hertz, for example, 144 hertz, the sand spontaneously self-organizes into a coherent, predictable geometric structure. And you see what he just we got to stop for that one, because the plate was vibrating at a particular frequency that created that geometric structure, right? Which again is a two-dimensional expression, where if we expand that out, you can imagine it in three-dimensional form. He threw sand on in the middle of it, and it immediately was absorbed into the structure. One of the remarkable things about cymatic structures is that the components are moving constantly. It's not like all the sand is just bouncing up and down in the same place. The sand is moving throughout the structure, but the metaphysical structure is preserved. So the sound vibration is giving instructions and specific pathways through which whatever medium it wants to move, right? And so the cool thing about this is that you can literally go up through the octave, right? So you can play middle C, and it's got this shape. And then you go D, E, F, G, A, B, and they've all got different shapes. But then you get back to the next octave up of C, and it's the same shape, but literally at higher frequency. More of the same shape in the same area, right? Higher frequency, what does that mean? More often. Same shape at a higher frequency, compressed into the same area. Right? So these are predictable. It's not like, oh, middle C gave me this shape this time, and it gave me a different shape next time. No. This middle C gives this shape. And although like it does differ, like, you know, medium and container, right? So let's go now and look at this next video of this guy. This video, I strongly recommend watching this video and watching this guy's introduction. He is a dignified elderly gentleman, if ever there were one, and he's got a great accent, and he's talking about some cosmic stuff. But look. So this is the originator of cymatics was a guy named Hans Jenny. He's a Dutch guy. In the 70s, he was doing these experiments, and he did it with all sorts of different media, where it was like he used oil and different types of oil and different densities of oil and all sorts of different stuff. So this is just showing, like, he obviously made that dragonfly and then put the sand on top of it or whatever, right? So yeah, if you're actually watching this video, they tell you what the particular medium is. But look at this. This is being done with sound. This is strictly sound vibration. This is a neutral medium being vibrated with sound. And here we see all the particles moving within the structure, right? It's not a stagnant thing. There's particle moving all within the structure as it's vibrating. And yeah, oh. And the amazing thing about this is that it you can see, let's see if we can move along to some of the oil stuff. Oh yeah, here's where it gets good. All right, so this is definitely in a liquid medium, sending these what have we been saying? Pulsative asymmetries. So like, you know, like that looks, that's a worm, that's a snake. Nope, that's just vibration flowing through a liquid medium, right? And And so the magic of this is you start to see geological processes. You start to see living processes. It looks like the way a snake moves or a tortoise shell, or you start to see all of the natural phenomena that is moving around us that defines our experience of three-dimensional existence indicated here, right? It's you can see how everything starts to get its structure. So, okay, that's cymatics. And that word cymatic comes from the Greek word kymatic, kymatica, which has to do, which basically indicates waves or wave forms. And cymatics can be defined as the study of visible sound and the capacity of sound to create, maintain, and destroy the seemingly solid objects we see all around us. So if sound generates geometry, and we've seen how the whole world, like literally space itself, is organized according to very specific geometries, then we start to make sense of the fact that every religious tradition that we can think of has sound as a key component, right? There's in the beginning there was the word, right? In the Vedic tradition, it's Om, the universal syllable, the cosmic sound, the music of the spheres. You know, in the beginning was the word. God said, "Let there be light." Right? First he spoke, then there was light, and so it would make sense that sound is a primordial creative force. And if we're seeing geometry encoded into the cosmos, then there's got to, like, what's happening out there? What's creating that? So 2017, the Nobel Prize for Physics was awarded to a group from Caltech who did an experiment with LIGO, which is short for Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. And what they did was they made the first direct observation and measurement of gravitational waves, which are rhythmic fluctuations in the fabric of space-time itself, which proved the final hypothesis of Einstein's special theory of relativity. So this guy is on our team. There are weighty arguments to be adduced in favor of the ether hypothesis. To deny the ether is ultimately to assume that space has no physical qualities whatsoever. The fundamental facts of mechanics do not harmonize with this view. I feel like it's a very diplomatic way of saying that. No, the fundamental facts do not harmonize with this view. I'm going to start using that in emails. Yeah, instead of no. Yeah, exactly. You're wrong. Oh no, the facts do not harmonize with this view. According to the general theory of relativity, physical space has physical qualities. In this sense, therefore, there exists an ether. According to the general theory of relativity, space without ether is unthinkable. So I like sharing this quote just to show that Einstein is on our team, and space has structure. Space is not an empty vacuum. It is packed densely full with this medium that is ether. And ether in the Ayurvedic paradigm is associated with the sound element. It's ether and sound are the same thing, basically. And so, okay, what the folks at LIGO were able to measure was two neutron stars, or two black holes, which got into each other's gravitational pull, and they were swirling, and they were swirling, and one day they collided. And these massive black holes way out in deep space collided, and here on Earth, our most sensitive instrumentation measured a whoop. Super cool. And literally they had, the way it works, they've got two lasers, and like a tunnel built like a mile that direction, and a tunnel built like a mile that direction. And so they get sent all the way and reflected back. And those two lasers cross at this one point. And if one of them deviates even the most microscopic amount, then they've measured a fluctuation in the field of gravity itself. It's a gravitational wave observatory. And so Einstein predicted it, but in 1919, there were not the technology to measure it. So here we finally have the technology. And since they measured it, it was like 2016 where they actually measured it. There've been all sorts of subsequent discoveries, and they're measuring a lot more. But this is the artist's rendering of what that looks like. This is the graphical representation of what that gravitational wave measured. And so what does this look like other than dropping a stone in a still pond or plucking a string on a guitar and watching the sound waves vibrate out? And so here's the thing. What they discovered is that space itself, the fabric of outer space, the stuff that is space, is vibrating all the time. And so this is just like the cherry on top of everything we've just learned, where of course it is, because if vibration creates geometry, then space itself is vibrating, and all the particles of the cosmos are spontaneously self-organizing according to the specific vibration that they're in, right? And so our solar system has the different orbits that it has because we're in an area of space that is vibrating at a particular frequency, and it sets our particular geometry in this particular order so that we have the elements that we have the gravity that we have the vegetation we have the bodies that we have. This is how this works, because space itself is vibrating with that big cosmic oh, and it's just doing that, right? Because this measurement was of the most, our most sensitive instrumentation was able to measure one of the biggest events possible. And so what that suggests to me is that everything is doing this. Like, if you think about the planets going around in their orbit, it's like, swimming through water. It's like a boat going through water, right? It leaves a wake behind. It's as Earth flies through space, we're giving off this vibration. And so this for me is the explanation of how astrology works. This is like literally the physical mechanism for how astrology functions, because depending on the different vertices, if you think of each planet as a vertex on the geometric structure relative to Earth, then each of those vertices is giving off this vibration, and that's affecting the vibratory structure that's hitting us here on Earth, which literally shapes the water in our body, right? If water vibrates and creates geometry, and we're getting hit with all these gravitational waves, we are then vibrating differently. Our cellular structure is vibrating differently, to the point where there's apoptosis or mitosis, right? And we see this in astrology all the time. We can see like, oh, you're going to get sick for this period, and then you're going to get better in this period. And it works, and we can see it, like how, why, how dare we, where's their free will in that? It's not free will. You're alive on this planet at this time, and these energies, like, who are you to stop the cosmic wave from crashing in the way that it's going to crash, right?